right, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have a very special guest with us, man. Third-year offensive lineman. I don't even want to call him old lineman. I'm going to just call him an athlete. He's an athlete. This cat, he runs routes. He pulls. He blocks. He's just an awesome cat, man. Straight out of USC, Trojan. Number 72 is always eligible. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Zach Banner in the building. What's up, man?
Okay, hey, Moats, I need to ask you. Well, okay, so like older guys, like the OGs, like Ramon and Pounce. Like, what do the OGs? What's your name around the building? Because I'm not calling you Arthur. I know it's not Arthur. What's your OG name? Like all the OGs have a nickname. What do people call you?
Man, look, man, I'm always Moats, man. I'm Moats. That's
Moats?
me. Moats, yes, indeed.
So you're like me. You just got designated with your last name. They call me Banner.
Yeah,
There's
man.
no like creativity whatsoever in our names.
It's just Moats. That's it. Yeah, nobody calls you Arthur though.
Having me on today, I appreciate it.
No problem, man.
No doubt, man. But yo, so just to start it out, man, you had a crazy story, man, coming out, right? Obviously, you were supposed to go a lot higher in the draft, ended up going in the 4th round to the Colts, and then bounced around a little bit. But when you arrived in Pittsburgh, man, just talk about mentally what that was like for you.
Dude, it was another opportunity, man. I really don't have to go over the backstory because it seems like everybody knows it. But when I was a free agent for a month and a half, it was in that half, it was like camp just started. It was the first time going into August that I wasn't on the team. Wow. And I had already been a free agent for a month. And then 2 weeks into camp, the Steelers, my agent, Joe Panos, reached out to me and was like, hey, you're getting a call from a couple teams. One of them might pull the trigger. We'll see. Just stay ready and keep training. I mean, I'd already been training. And they called me in the second week of camp, flew me out, and just went to Latrobe and did the dirty work, bro. But the best part about it, it's a blessing in disguise. And I don't say this like just because I'm in Pittsburgh right now or we're on your podcast or anything, bro. I really authentically mean this, bro. Like Munch, it was the best coach that I ever worked with at the time. And Pounce and all the OGs, Gil, all those guys, like this was a blessing in disguise because it was like, not only can I like show my efforts, and I was part of we're a bigger offensive line, right? We got bigger guys. So not only do I blend in a lot more with these guys, and fit in too in a personality standpoint, but it was just a blessing for me because it just seemed like, when you go through that type of stuff, man, it just seems like, the world's coming to an end and you have to find ways to stay motivated. You have to find ways to keep working. And the work part wasn't, it was just I just wasn't happy, bro. My girl tells me now, she's like, you're back to like your normal self, man. And like, it feels so much better, bro. I love it here. Straight up.
That's dope, man. And you hit on it too, man. Those guys in that room, from a personality standpoint, they make it fun to be around the game. They make it fun to show up at work every day, especially Moan and Pouncey, man. I know Moan, he's still doing the check-in where he gives the roll call before practice.
All the time, bro. All the time, bro. And talking crap to the defense, like F you Cam, you know what I mean? Like those type of stuff. Yeah. Like that stuff, bro. Like that's the type of stuff that I not only did at USC and in high school, but that's the type of environment I can be around. And I don't really want to bag. I don't want to bag on the other two teams, but I think really if you just look at their depth chart, you'll know that it's not like that.
No question, man. No question. Like I said, I was a part of other organizations as well. I saw it firsthand too, man. It's different here in Pittsburgh, bro.
Yeah, and that's a reflection. That's a reflection off of Coach Tomlin, straight up. Absolutely. You know what I mean? And the people upstairs too. And you try to go without kiss ass and everybody, but really it's you're just speaking the truth. Like the environment is work your tail off and have fun with your teammates. But you have to do it first. And that was the thing too. If you want to talk about like an adjustment, like I didn't come in talking at all. I didn't come in it didn't take any of those older guys to tell me to be quiet or anything because I was already going into my second year of the league. So I already kind of knew that. It's just when you finally earn it, they let you have fun. And that's awesome to me.
Absolutely, bro.
Deke here. Could you take me through your journey going from the Colts? Was there something going on with like your weight and having to lose weight. Can you take us through that journey and like what was going on there and like how you bounced around a little bit?
Chris Ballard, GM, could be sitting next to me, and I'll just be honest with you. He looked at me and told me, after I was drafted, we got to OTAs, and he was like, "You're 365 pounds. You were 350 at the combine. When I drafted you, I already knew I was going to have to take off a couple pounds. This is not acceptable. You need to be this by camp." Got to camp, which the goal was to be 350 by camp and then chip it off. I was 358. You know what I mean? Like, It was like one of those type of things, bro, where I had a rookie moment where I have to identify with myself, like saying, yo, you need to change this. Like this is, this is a real thing. But when you guys, as you guys know, when you get into camp, losing weight during camp is not what you should have been doing. You should have lost it in the off season, because it's very hard to do. Like, you don't want to have to worry about taking in low calories as you're playing, like in 100-degree temperature heat. You know what I mean? So I didn't handle business at the time. It's not so much like I used to think like, hey, look at me, I'm a draft pick, because I've never had that type of mentality. I just I had a binge eating problem, bro. And it's crazy. I just had to remember that. I was like, why did I lose weight? And I just remembered it because at the time, when I went to SC, I played both sports. I played two sports. I played football and basketball, and I was legit. Like, guys will football. It's funny to me because, and Moats, you know this, football players will always try to hype up themselves in their other sport.
Always.
And they always try to act like they were a good hooper. Like, I'm gonna be real, I was legit. And so when I got to SC, I was playing football and basketball at 290, 295.
That's wild.
And
bro.
so with all that, at the same height I am now. So with all that being said, it's when that had to go, I had to medically retire because I had to have hip surgery at the end of my redshirt freshman year. The reason why I redshirted was because I couldn't really bend well. And then I'm over here, busting my tail all freshman season, trying to, do soft tissue massages, things like that. I'm like, why can't? And then they did x-rays and they said, hey, you have to sit out another year because you got to have hip surgery. So I was like, you know what, let me just go ahead and focus on the sport that's going to get me paid. Mm-hmm. And I had to give up basketball. When I did that, from that 5 months of rehabbing, over that 5 months of rehabbing, I went from being 295, 290 to 360 pounds. Like, I put on that much weight, bro. And what happened is like, when you get to that point too, like over my whole college career, my knock always was like, you mentioned it earlier, Moats. I appreciate it, by the way, for talking about the drop of the draft. That's not emotional for me at all. Whatever.
Oh, stop it. We all go through it. We all drop through the draft.
I had coaches, bro. Look at me. Dead ass. He might still be there. I forget his name. Black offensive line coach for the Tampa Bay Bucks looked at me, and to this day, I'll never forget it. He looked at me and said, you'd be one of the first or second tackles drafted if you just decided to stop eating.
Oh, wow.
And like, coaches would tell me that. My agent would tell me that. And it literally, like, all this stuff, right, halfway through it, and I'm going to go back to Indianapolis in a sec, halfway through the draft process, my agent Joe just told me, and to this day, I always remember, it was after pro day. I said, Joe, what are you hearing? Because I wanted to earn my way back into the top 2 rounds. I wanted to earn my way back into there. And he said, bro, there's no chance. He said, they just don't want to risk it over the weight. Wow. So Chris Ballard tells me to go there, blah, blah, blah. I'm 358, basically 360. And okay, cool. So they fined me $6,000. Boom, right there. It's the one only fine. It's the only fine like I've ever had in the NFL, and it's the last time I'll ever be fined. Like I promise you that straight up. Like, no, I will never get fined for anything ever else in my life again. And that hurt, obviously, right? 6 racks, gone. So we get to the end of camp. I make the original 53 roster on Friday. Saturday goes by. My girlfriend's in town for the last preseason game. We're celebrating, blah, blah, blah. They call me on Sunday, and it's the call that says, hey, Zach, can you come see Chris and bring your playbook? Oh. I'm driving with my girl to go wash my car at that moment. Obviously, we didn't end up getting the car washed, and I'm looking at her like I'm not even paying attention to her, bro. I'm just driving and crying. Like, this is it. She's like, no, baby, but you did. Just didn't understand. And I looked at her. I said, baby, I need some quiet right now. So we get into the facility, and Chris looks at me, and he says, I'm gonna be honest with you. I looked at this. It's very, very similar to what Kevin Colbert did a couple months ago to Fred Johnson, right? Mm-hmm. Not because of his weight, but was this. This is what he said. He said, I don't think anybody needs right tackles at the moment. But you pissed me off with this whole weight situation. And I'm gonna waive you. You're gonna clear waivers. You'll be back here on Tuesday, and you'll be on practice squad until you get your weight right. When you do, boom. So I'm just like, okay, cool. Like, he hasn't given up on me. But it was the first time people have been honest, but it was the first time that somebody just said, I'm not putting up with this. Yeah. Because, like I said, I had weight fluctuations, right? And right when that happened, the next day, 4 teams bidded for me. It was I forget what teams it was. And then you go to the team with the worst record. I was in Cleveland on Tuesday, actually playing the Steelers. It was that game where Chicolo when they blocked the punt in the end zone and Chicolo got the touchdown.
Yeah, that was a dope game. Ago. I remember that. Yeah,
that was it was awesome. Yeah. I was on the 0-16 team. Thanks for bringing it up.
Oh man.
So my whole rookie year, bro. So remember, I told you I'm about 360. My whole rookie year, they weren't weighing me in, blah, 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 blah. Like, they just didn't care. The organization just obviously wasn't
Shout out to Cleveland
properly at that time.
Shout out to Cleveland.
Shout out to Cleveland, bro. By January, obviously we weren't going to the playoffs, so we were done on New Year's Day. I called my trainer out in L.A., who was also an assistant head strength coach, Tim Karen, at USC. Now he owns his own gym called the Legit. I've shouted him out before. He's like basically my trainer that talks to me about nutrition, supplements, all this type of stuff throughout the last couple of years. I said, I need somebody to hold me accountable because I'm 420 pounds right now. Wow. And I went back to LA and that January, and bro, just for like, what is that? 8 months, 9 months until you go to camp? 8 months. Yeah. 8 months. He grabs this dictionary or this book, whatever it was. I sound really stupid, but I forget what book it was. And he puts his hand over it, over the word, his finger. And he says, read that definition. And he takes it off, and it's binge. It's binge eating. So it was like being accountable, bro. And I told him, I said, just hold me accountable. Like, hold me as a person, hold me accountable to my career. Like, I need that in my life. Like, professional athletes, as you know, are given a lot of time and freedom to themselves to have possession over their careers. I need guidance right now. So I've been on the ketogenic diet, and the rest is history. So man, to answer your question about Indy, man, that was it.
Wow. No, good for you. Now, would you be able to take us through? Now, I heard in a previous interview that Coach Tomlin talked to you. This was back last year, Thursday Night Football with the Carolina Panthers. Yep. Can you take me through that conversation? Like, what was going on before that? What did the conversation mean to you? What happened after that?
So he comes up to me. So remember during that free agency, or not during the free agency, during the off-season period, because I ended up getting claimed by Carolina, and then I was there for all OTAs and minicamp, and then I was a free agent after that. But they during that process, I was doing a lot of reading, and I was reading this book about how to be a better person at work, and so it always talked about evaluations, like, be honest with yourself, and then also have your boss be honest with you, and go over quarterly evaluations over the year. Well, our year is broken down in 16 weeks. So I went up to him, I explained him to that, and I said, so every 4 weeks I'm going to come up to you and I'm going to ask for a true evaluation, because I was on the 53-man roster, but they were doing that because they wanted to develop me. Like, that's the only reason. Or else I would have been on the street again, just because I didn't play a single snap last year. But they wanted to develop me, and they didn't want me the same thing to happen that happened with Cleveland. And he just told me, he said, he was telling me these things. Like, the first one was like, show me you're not. After the first 4 weeks, he said, show me that you're not like what the scouts tell me you are. You deteriorate over time. Okay, cool. So the word was deterioration. Then the next evaluation was show me that you can be accountable. Well, then like you said, we played Carolina, I think week 7 or week 8. And he says, hey, man, tomorrow, meet me in Guy's office, the strength coach, Guimont. And at first, when I heard that, if I wasn't with the team for 8 weeks already, I would have thought I had to bring my playbook. But I could tell this was something different. And so he brings me in. He's sitting there with Guy the next day after we just got done beating Carolina. And he's sitting there and he says, how do I turn you into a $50 million tackle? And I looked at him and I said, I don't know. What do you think? True story. Like, I wasn't even trying to be funny, even though he did laugh and kind of giggle, do his little chuckle. You know how that sounds like Moats. He does his little chuckle. And he was like, I'll tell you how. I think that you need to understand that we have a desire for you to be a Steeler. And I think that's your future, whether it's $50 million with us or $50 million with another team. You need to move out of your crappy apartment on the south side, and you need to get a house. Moats, I cried, bro. I cried. I looked at him. I just started crying, bro. And he said, we're going to sign you after the season. And me and Danger signed the day after the season was done. And he just said, this isn't any promises. You got to earn it yourself. But I think that you should stay out here during the off season. Guy will keep his hands on you. You can continue to work with your guy in terms of nutrition and things. I think you have a good standpoint on that. You've been losing a lot of weight and you need to continue. This was like when I was 370 at the time. And then, obviously going into this season, I was 340, but, he just told me, bro, like for a coach, remember we talked about those evaluations and things like that, right?
Right.
I asked him, I was like, we went through like week 8 of this season. I was like, bro, with all this thing that's been happening, I forgot to ask about my quarterly evaluations. No matter how much money I make one day, I want to keep doing this because I feel like that's the only way I can get better. It's not to kiss ass. It's not to try to make him feel good about himself. It's not any of that. It's real, right? And you know what he told me week 8 of this year? I asked him, I said, what do I need to do to get better? He said, just keep doing what you're doing.
That's dope, bro. That is dope.
That right there, that just made me better. Like, that just made me, like, people get complacent, right? What's he call? He says, don't be a diabetic, right? Give you a little sugar. Don't be a diabetic. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? I don't take that for granted at all because I've been on the street. Like, I know what that's like, and I don't want to feel that again because we talk about this, right? Oh, he had potential. He had this. Dude, my biological dad ate himself up, and he knows that. I don't want to be like that.
Man, I think.
Why would I want to be like that?
And I think it's dope, too, that you were able to identify that so early in your career. A lot of young guys, from my experience, man, they don't see that or understand that, hey, this is a business. You have to come in and be ready to go. You have to be accountable. And if you have an issue, you got to figure out a way to fix it ASAP because you'll be out the league. Most young guys don't get that,
Straight
man.
up.
So definitely, man, kudos to you for that, bro.
Appreciate that, bro.
Yeah. And now transition a little bit, man. So you are a cult hero out here in Pittsburgh, man. Everybody knows when number 72 is eligible, everybody goes crazy. So just talk about, man, when coach tells you, hey, man, you're going there right now and you're eligible. What's going through your head, man, when you're coming on that field?
I'm about to. How censored is this? Because I want to make sure I don't.
You're good.
I want to make sure I'm gonna be real with you. I want to. You can bleep this out, Deke.
Yeah.
I don't want to fuck somebody up.
I like that.
I really do. But that's the thing, though. Most that's the thing is like Al, Pounce, Moan,
The goons,
all
absolutely.
those dudes when they told me, like, when they said you are the swing tackle, you're the 6th man, and you're the jumbo tight end that we've been doing. I hate that term, by the way, jumbo. I just feel like, like the turkey, like you ever seen a raw turkey sitting on the table?
Yeah.
And, I just like looked at that. Like, that's what I feel. I feel like a jumbo, especially when I wear a white uniform. I feel like just a wet, nasty, fat jumbo tight end. I just hate that term. When they told me that, they said, this is your chance to F people up and to show your footwork. And then they always want to talk about Beach. They always want to talk about how it worked for Hub. They always want to talk about those two, right? Because those are the last two that we had.
And they got paid too, man. They both got paid.
They did. And that's what everybody, that's literally what they all say. So when you asked me, to go back to your question, you asked me, what do I think? Bro, like, outside of all the noise and the cheers, because the cheers wasn't asked for. Yeah. It's not like I said, hey, go crazy for me when you hear me getting called out, right? Which is awesome because I feel like it's authentic. At first, the first 2 games, I'm not going to lie, the first 2 games, when the fans started doing it, it threw me off. And I was like, okay, cool. And it's not like I had any MAs or missed anything and missed assignments for, like, I didn't have anything. It's just, it's like, okay, this is not, but like, it kind of fueled me at the time. Now it's like, somebody had asked me in an interview today, what's that like? And I said, to be honest with you, it's great. And I don't want the Pittsburgh fans to stop. I don't want them to think that, I'm like, shut up or anything like that. But the goal is to be a starting tackle in the NFL.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely.
That's the truth. Like, there's a lot of guys who talk about the player performance check that we get at the end of the year, the bonuses, the things like that. I'm not even thinking about that, Moats. I really mean that. Like, it's like, well, what was the goal at the beginning of the season? What was the goal going into your whole career, NFL career? To be a starting offensive tackle and to dominate at the same way you did in college. I want more. You know what I mean? But I definitely don't want more cheers because I don't think they can cheer enough without sounding like a cocky bastard. Without sounding like a cocky bastard on your show. I definitely don't need more from that. But it's awesome, bro. Like, I'm really grateful. And it's authentic. And they started cheering because, the film doesn't lie. I'm kicking ass. So right. But I'm going to say this on top of it, Moats, and this is what I told everybody since everybody wants to bring it up. The minute I give up a sack, it's gone. So let's not do that.
You're right. That is very true. But I will say this, Straight though, up. Man. When you do watch the tape, you do see you getting after these guys, man. And not just, as a tight end. I mean, I've seen them use you on one side of the formation, play snaps, you're going across, like seeing a big man. Well, because like I said, I'm not calling you jumbo. You told me don't say jumbo.
Thank you so much.
So just seeing a larger man be able to move the way you're moving, playing in space, man.
You can use plus size. Like, we can be real official.
Plus size, okay.
You know what I mean? Like, they use it in, like, women's clothing. When they talk about it, like, you can use plus size.
So seeing a plus size man move the way you move, man, I think that's pretty dope, man. So definitely keep that up, bro.
Now this is a question a little bit outside of football. You did an internship while you were at USC over at Fox Sports, right?
I did for Colin for 3 years.
Yeah, what was that like? Is there anything that you learned? How'd that happen? Just a favorite memory? Anything that you took away from it?
So my first year, I interned for Pat Hayden in the athletic department, right? It sounds real sketchy if you don't go to USC. It sounds like I'm just taking stuff, right? No, but I literally authentically worked after I was done with school, for 5 hours, 5 days a week, I worked in the office with Pat Hayden, our athletic director. So I was making copies, getting coffee for him, answering phone calls, all that type of stuff. And then at the end of the summer, he asked me, he said, I know you don't want to answer phones for the rest of your life, so what do you want? And I said, can you get me an internship, doing broadcasts or something like that? He says, and he's like, I got you. He literally pulled me into his office, called Randy Freer, who was the CEO of Fox Sports at the time, obviously a big SC guy. And he said, Randy, I have Zach Banner here. And he's like, Zach Banner on the football team? He's like, yeah, he worked for me. He proved to me that he could be a good intern. Can you get him a job? He's like, I got something that he likes. So I came over to the lot. That's what they call the Fox headquarters in LA. I went over to the lot in Century City. And they introduced me to a guy from Seattle, Washington, who's also a USC fan, named Colin Cowherd. And I worked for Colin for the next 3 summers, or 3, honestly, it was spring too. For the next 3 off seasons, I worked for Colin Cowherd. I've learned so much, bro. Like, you learn, like, one time he's like, Zach, I'm going to go on a show and I'm going to talk about how Derek Fisher was a better Laker than Kobe Bryant. Do you really believe that?
Wow.
And I said, no. And he said, but guess what? I'm going to get so many clicks later. He said, so when you hear all my dumb coworkers and all that stuff like he might get mad that I'm telling him this, talking about this, but who cares? Like you asked me, what did I learn, right? This is probably one of the biggest lessons that I've ever learned. Dude, 98% of those guys, when they get to that level, especially when you talk about guys like Stephen A, who make what, like $8 million a year just to do that. They're literally starting confrontations, bro. If you really want their honest opinion, and I've met so many of them, man. I know Marcellus Wiley, a really good friend of mine from ESPN. We used to go get breakfast all the time. All these guys will tell you, bro. That's why it's so much better, I feel like, when the players and ex-coaches are on, but then again, some of them can be Hollywood as hell too. I can't. Michael Strahan has a great balance of showing his honest opinion about teams. Sometimes has to go a little Hollywood. I've seen it. I'll say it to Michael's face. Sometimes goes a little Hollywood to get clicks and things too. But most of the time, players and coaches keep it real unless they're told, because those producers will tell you, like, all right, Skip Bayless, you have this, and Stephen A. Smith, you have this.
Wow.
Like, I don't care if you believe that. This is a show, like the First Take show. Wow. I don't even waste my time watching it anymore. If they ask me to be on the show, I'll do it, but I won't watch it because it's like I know their motives are to have a debate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean,
and to have a confrontation. It's the same thing with when Colin goes. I don't know if he still does it with Whitlock or not. I haven't been watching the show, but it's the same thing when they do the Fox version, and it's the same thing when the Fox version of Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp do their things. How do you mix your character in with also your knowledge and IQ of the sport while also doing the agenda? I mean, that's if you can balance those three things, you'll be successful in sports media. Yeah, whether it's writing or it's on camera.
We see it firsthand. People like to debate a lot in the comments.
Very true.
For sure.
It's crazy, bro, because it's like, and it's the same thing too, and that's another thing too that I had to learn by going to SC, having social media, being around Colin, being around the show. It's like when I tweeted the other day, I tweeted about Duck, the comment about the hillbillies and their cousins being their wives and things like that, right? Yeah. There was some dude who like tweeted at me that said, "This is horrible. You should take this down. You should basically go kill yourself." Like, I was like, 6 years ago, because of my personality, like, I want to be friends with everybody. I want to be cool with everybody. Unless you do some crazy, I'm still a man. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like,
a plus size man. I got you. Absolutely.
Right. A plus size man. Keep throwing that out, Moats. I'll beat your ass. How about that? Keep it up. Keep it up with the plus size. Okay. It worked earlier. Don't do that again. Anyways, 6 years ago, I'd have been like really upset. I'd have been like, why did I hurt this guy? I would have probably sent him a letter and been like, hey, I'm sorry. I didn't mean this, blah, blah, blah. But it's crazy because you have to, like, when you put yourself out there, you're putting your opinion out there. And guess what? The phone gives them access to social media, and everything gives everybody an opinion. So don't even worry about that. And that's the same thing with media people, bro. Like, there's people out here who said, like, I was the worst thought of a draft pick. They're still saying that. I was the worst draft pick ever. Waste of a talent, blah, 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 blah. And you just got to ignore it. You do.
Hey, no question, man. Besides, they hating on your athletic ability. And another person that I want to
look at you trying to get some be nice. You're trying to be nice now. Love for the plus size comp, the second one.
The second one, not the first one.
I gave you permission for the first time when you explained it earlier. Now you're probably going to save me into your phone as plus size bandit. And that's okay. Because your first name is Arthur, and that's perfectly fine.
That's crazy.
That's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine.
You can't come at my name. That's crazy.
That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying. You started it.
Yeah, what happened here?
You see how this is, man? I'm getting attacked.
Big turn of events.
This is crazy, man. It's crazy. But anywho, I'm about to get on your side again right here, because I've seen you come in as eligible. I've seen you run multiple routes as an eligible receiver, but yet my man Duck isn't showing you no love. I saw him pump at you. I saw him pump at you in the game. You were wide open. I'm trying to figure out What's it going to take for you to get the ball? So
this is the censored as I could possibly put this. Okay. There's a curse word that rhymes with duck. Imagine that word over a duck. So blank a duck. Imagine that as a T-shirt. Imagine that as a T-shirt. Imagine if I'm thinking about getting it made for next game, for this to walk through the tunnel this game. I'm not even lying. I mean, like, okay, so Chandler Jones is like 10 yards off of me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, are you kidding me? You don't think I can catch the ball and get out of bounds? I'm not going to try to do no miracle play. And if you know what? I don't know.
I'm about to say, don't shortchange yourself. Don't shortchange yourself.
Looking at the film, you know what I mean? I told guys, I said, if I ever get the ball, I might just turn around if it's me and one guy. Like somebody Chandler size, I know he's going to probably try to tackle me straight up. But, if it's like a DB, I'm just going to close my eyes and jump. Because guess what? If I can successfully complete that hurdle, that's a poster.
Oh, no question.
Like that's like just funny and iconic for the rest of my life. Like I could, you know what I mean? Like I've been thinking about that, but like in terms of duck, I would like to have no comments about duck anymore because I'm like this close to punching him in the jaw. I know I said I wanted to punch him in the jugular, but that might kill the guy and I don't want to go to jail, but I'm thinking about just punching him in the jaw. Just one sweet little right hook.
Oh, I like it, man. Duck better stop playing games, man. Get you the ball, man.
Straight up.
Here's the ball. Here's the thing, bro.
Straight up.
There's some magic going on with this podcast. Whoever comes on to do some of these interviews, they play well the next week.
They've been balling out, man.
Bro, you might need to look out for this pass this week and maybe even a touchdown. Dude,
hey, in prime time, too.
Be ready. Yeah, that's all we're saying.
Are we prime time this week? Wait, are we Sunday Night Football this week?
Hey, that's word on the street. They're saying that y'all prime time. That's what they're saying. You check with your people just to make sure.
Is it confirmed? Moats, you're no longer a player. You're a media member. Is it confirmed? I need to know.
Listen,
now.
I have sources that can confirm that this game will be in prime time. All right.
Okay, look at you trying to protect your sources. All right, I'm done with this. Get me off of this. Deke, you're welcome to come over anytime you want.
Wow.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah. I love your French name, by the way. We talked about that earlier before we got on.
Absolutely. Hey, real quick, switching to video games. You say
Deke, don't waste my time.
You say you're the.
Deke, don't waste my time.
What do you mean?
Uh-oh.
You say you're the best FIFA player.
Listen,
what?
Deke, it's not. I don't say it. Other people say it. It's not even a joke. I'm gonna go home. I'm actually already home now. My dog's been staring at me in the backyard this whole time I've been on the podcast. By the way. I'm going to go home. I'm going to go inside and I'm going to play for about 5 hours. Okay. I'll be on whenever you want.
Wait, so Chad,
you even have it.
Here's the thing. No, I'm terrible at FIFA. I'm terrible. That's not my game.
Okay. All right.
Chad Johnson called you out on Twitter though. Is that going to happen?
And you see, he hasn't responded. Actually, I'm gonna respect Chad and keep it honest. We already have a plan in the DMs.
Oh.
So it will happen. It's gonna happen. The bottom line is Chad's been busy. So his team is not stacked enough to play because we'll play ultimate team. So we'll match teams. And he's a guy, like, don't get me wrong, like anybody who, like, there's guys who go home and play Madden, which is ridiculous because our job is Madden. Like, who wants to go home?
Thank you.
You know what I mean? Like, who wants to go home and play, like, do that? Like, it's a waste of time. I understand 2K. It's just I've always been a FIFA guy since college. But what I was saying is like the atmosphere, like, of that rivalry between us two is like just building up. It's just building up, and it's just gonna just. Can you feel it?
Yeah.
Can you feel it?
I can.
Yeah. It's unreal. It's unreal. I'm excited.
The pressure's mounting.
Moats, what's wrong? Why, Moats, are you laughing at me or are you laughing with me?
Listen, man, I'm laughing with you. I don't want any problems. You know that. I'm on your team.
All right, bro.
I'll put my money on you.
So it will happen, Deke. So you know that.
I'm looking out.
It will happen.
And like I said, man, my money on you, baby. So it's all good. Now,
Deke, is your name short for? Are you Deacon? Deacon?
My last name's DeClaven. I used to play.
Say it slowly. Spell it for me.
DEKLAVEN.
Okay. So what's your first name?
Eric.
Yeah, I'd go by Deke too.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
it's way cooler.
Yeah.
It's way cooler.
It's way cooler. It's like a nickname.
Yeah, it's a combo of that, and I used to play hockey, and Deke's a moving hockey, so.
Got you.
Yeah, it's a way better name than Eric.
Got you.
Boom. See? Shout out to Deke. Short for Deke.
Shout out to Deke. Yeah.
Now,
French for Dick. We talked about it before we got on the air. I just wanted to make sure, like, everyone
it's documented
knew.
now.
It is.
Yeah. When he introduced himself, I was like, "Wait, did he say Dick?" Like, I just needed to make sure.
You can Google
it's documented on the podcast. Can I Google? Did you just flex on me with the Google thing?
Okay.
No, I ain't
Deke,
like
are you
that,
the kind of guy? Are you the guy that goes to the club? And, like, when they ask for ID, you just say you can Google it and then walk in.
Nah, man. Honestly,
I would if I went by the word Deke, I would start acting like that. I'm just letting you know that right now.
Who knows what I'll be like if I do get that popular? Because I play it. Yeah, I play it off like I wouldn't, but who knows? Me with a little bit of popularity, it could be reckless. Yeah.
What in the world, man? Hey, so look, I got 2 more questions for you, bro. So. You're the most dedicated and elite level victory formation blocker I've ever seen, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking like it's above and beyond. So just talk about where did your passion for this play come from, bro?
Moats. It was accidental, bro. I really mean that. It was not purposeful, bro. Because like it was supposed to be funny the first time I did it.
Mm-hmm.
It was supposed to be funny to the guys in the O-line room. But so when we're watching film, right, and you get to the last play, and it's like, okay, victory formation. Bro, Sweet Feet, our O-line coach, didn't even play it. I was like, wait, what? Like, I didn't say anything. But I was like, oh, darn it, they're going to miss it. Yeah. So I let it go, right? And then I did it the next game. And then somebody in some random film room somewhere noticed it and blasted it on social media. It blasted it on social media. And so I not only did it, I did it because I wanted to be, a jerk to my online coach because he's always, which is good that he's a stickler of my footwork, but he's always talking about you just step with these hands or step with these feet, use your hands this way, blah, 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 blah. So I was like, okay, I'm about to have perfect footwork the whole entire game.
Yeah.
All right. You hear me? And I was like, and he was like, and so no one saw it. And then it blew up on social media, and then everybody started seeing it. And now I purposely do it because I have to keep doing it because it's just it's an identity now. It's funny. It is funny. I'm not going to lie. Every time I watch. And Chandler, we have the same agent, Chandler Jones. So we have the same agent. I know him real well. So after this last game, I kind of like poked him. I kind of like did a little, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? So he enjoyed it. He was laughing. So.
Why'd he post it? To make fun of you?
Did somebody? No, somebody. Did I post?
No. Whenever they blasted it on social media, it wasn't your coach, or was it?
No, it was the check down at first, but then like somebody, I think it was Alex Kazora. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
I think it was him at first. Like I love his like dedication. It wasn't. It might have been made fun of, but I mean, you try like making fun of me, I'm gonna bag you back. So it's really not like
true that.
You know what I mean? It's I hope it was.
I thought it was. I thought it was a coach or someone in the locker room.
My heart rate's going up.
Now he about to go at Alex Kazar.
Right.
Hey, yo, so what's up with you?
Hey, Alex, are you making fun of me?
Tell me how you really feel.
Right. Yeah. Hey, we need to have a conversation. Come on, over here.
Hey, bro, I'm just going off what you said earlier about the conflict, man. It gets the views, right?
Right, yeah. Look at you trying to be the poke. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Deke being a dick. That should be your show. Deke being a dick.
That's basically what happens.
Hey. Story of your life, man. Story of your life. That's how it is. Hey, so the last question we got for you today, man. Just talk about your welcome to the NFL moment.
Oh, hell yeah. Do you ask that to everybody?
Absolutely.
Because everybody, if you play in the National Football League, you know exactly what you're talking about.
Absolutely.
Boz, the linebacker. Remember last year, I know the kicker's name is Boswell. The linebacker like we had last year, 51.
Yeah.
The 51 we had last year. Do you remember him?
Mm-hmm.
So he was with me in Indy when I got drafted. And his biggest thing was, and I guess he learned it in Chicago when he was playing with Dude, who's the dude that just retired last year that played for a long time or the year before? Linebacker in Chicago. But basically they teach aggressive hands and shed the offensive lineman. Like stun them and shed them, right? Bro, I'm coming downhill on a power play and confident as hell. Like, because power, on the front side of power, that's like been my thing my entire life. Like it's just been who I am. On that deuce block between me and my guard, I'm gonna put that 3 technique on the guard and I'm gonna climb to the linebacker and I'm gonna open the Red Sea. Bro, I did everything right. I go downhill. This is the old me, so the technique's not really there, but I just go and I throw my whole body into it. And he kind of catches me, but then he extends his arms. And when he does that, I'm done. Like it's whatever, like, you know what I mean? Pause, no homo, whatever you want.
It's a bad situation.
It's wherever you want to take me, like that's where you're going to fucking take me. You know what I mean? Excuse my language. And he shutted me and threw me to the ground. And that was the last time I've been shutted. And it was the first and last time I've been shedded and thrown to the ground in my entire life.
Man, that's crazy, bro.
Bro, like man, like just man, like man. You know what I mean? Like that's what I felt. I was like, oh, okay.
It's a very humbling experience.
Very humbling experience, especially when like Anthony Costanzo, their left tackle, is a great dude.
Yeah.
But my God, when he wants you to feel bad, he's gonna be like Banner. Like his laugh, his little, because he kind of has like a lisp. You know what I mean? It's the most evil thing I've ever heard in my life, and it just hurts. And I used to sit next to him in the meeting room, so he made my life a living hell. But he's also a good dude too. I'm gonna give him that.
Hey, major respect, man. Golly, bro, you were amazing, man. We definitely had a blast with you, man. The listeners are gonna enjoy this, man. Stay healthy the rest of the season. Keep being great and keep, you know what I'm saying, pursuing those goals, man. You're gonna make it out there, man, in terms of being that starting tackle. So just keep on that grind, bro.
Appreciate it, bro. You guys can call me at any time. Dick, have a good day, okay?